Good afternoon. This is my first YouTube video and I wanted to introduce myself a little bit to you guys. I have been gardening in my own space for about 25 years, and before that I grew up in a garden. My mom always had a big garden in her backyard, and I have really good memories of helping her in the garden and eating peas and eating all the great stuff that she grew, and I always have loved gardening, always. So of course, it was pretty natural for me when I got my own space, and even before I had my own space, I did some container gardenings. But it was pretty natural for me to always want to grow a garden, and I love it so much, and I want to share my gardening journey with you. Right now, I am taking Master Gardener classes. I'm working on getting my Master Gardener certificate. My goal of doing this YouTube video is to try to get everyone to get excited about growing their own food. In this world today, we just don't know if we're going to have that food security with everything that's been going on the last couple of years, and it's just a really good skill to learn to garden, and anyone can learn to do it. I don't want to hear anyone say you can only do it if you have a green thumb. No, you can learn to do it, and you will fail, you will have successes, and that's all part of the learning process. So I want to take you on a little tour of my garden, and I want to kind of show you guys what I have planned for this spring and this summer. I'm really excited. I'm going to do some different things, and let me take you there. Let's go on a little tour and I'll show you what I've got planned. So this is our yard. We have about a half an acre here, and I have planted food everywhere. We left a little space open for our kids when they were little to play. But these are 2 apricot trees right here, and I have a peach tree right here. We have June, July bearing raspberries all along here. They've already been pruned and cleaned out because the fruit was done about the end of July, and I was able to do that. I have 7 apple trees. There's a plum tree right there. These apple trees are very old. They're about 35 years. This was an orchard before our house was built here, and we've been here 21 years. So at the end of this month, February to March in Utah, is the time to prune these trees. You want to prune them before they come out of dormancy and before the buds form. So all those things that are sticking straight up will be pruned down. I will do a video on how I prune those. I am taking a pruning class next month, but I need to get these pruned before that. So this is my main garden area. I like to do container gardening. Half of these were built a long time ago, and then we built the other half this year and added a sprinkling system that just waters the bottom. And as you can see, I put a lot of organic matter in these beds at the end of fall last year. So I put grass clippings, dried leaves that I mulched up with a lawnmower. I have guinea pig manure. I use guinea pig manure a lot in my garden, and it's done really, really well. And they're wood shavings. And I've used just green matter when I've cut leaves off or pruned things down. I've thrown them in here. But already the leaves are breaking down so much. And I have used some straw, but the straw I got had a lot of weeds in it, so I'm not putting in a lot of my beds. But so my plan this year, these 2 big boxes I always grow corn in because they're just big and corn needs a lot of space. So these 2 boxes will always have corn. The rest of them I always rotate my crops every year, just so I can try to avoid the different diseases or fungal or issues that I have, bugs. And I'm going to add 3 cattle panels in this area because I really love growing melons, and I have a lot of fun melons I want to grow. I have cantaloupe, watermelon, honeydew melon, and then a couple other little ones that are just looked really fun to grow. So I want to try them, but I will be putting the trellises right here. So what I do in my garden, this is south facing, this side right here is south facing. So I will plant the really tall things here, and then as it goes down, it will be shorter. But I am going to put some cattle panels right here because the corn grows pretty tall, and I think it will be okay. So that's my plan. I did start adding some solar lights in here. I really want to put some posts on each side of the garden and add the big lights at the top, but we'll see if that happens. So I got my neighbor's dog in here. I don't know what he's eating. So I'm going to put another cattle panel in one of these too. I'm not sure which one yet. But that's my plan. But last year we put 2 really thick weed guard down here, and then our neighbors gave us this rock, And then I got some peat gravel and put it all the rest of the place. So I really love that it's been really good. And we got the grapes at the very back fence, and then I got an elderberry bush that we propagated from the wild elderberries in the mountains. And I'll show you how to propagate those. They're very easy to propagate, and actually I'm going to do that pretty soon because I need to get some propagated because I have a lot of friends that would like a start. So we got a bunch of grapevines. I have 5 grapevines, and honestly I have never pruned these correctly. I've never learned, so that's why I signed up for a pruning class next month, and then I can learn to prune these correctly. But they do really well. The big one I planted right there hasn't been doing very well because I haven't been very good at pruning it. So once I learn to do that correctly, I will show you guys. And then we got this area. This used to be a chicken coop area. The chickens got massacred by raccoons, sadly. And now I'm thinking I want to build a greenhouse right here. I will probably have to take out these bushes and maybe give them to a neighbor or a friend. But I do have a grow box right here. It's not doing that great because it just gets shaded too much, and then water just drips right off this roof and just gets way too wet. Right now I have garlic and onions in it, but it seemed like I had more fungal issues in this box last year. So I'm going to be moving this box all along this outside right here. So this is the area this year, this summer I'm going to be growing pumpkins and spaghetti squash. Pumpkins and spaghetti squash need tons of room. So I still have to build a couple more boxes right here. I'm going to be putting those right here and then planting the pumpkins in these and the spaghetti squash, and then just letting them climb all over and go wherever they want. I move them over here because they will choke out my other garden, and they need to be out where they can have their space. And I have a wood chip drop that I got in the fall, and I'm just kind of letting that compost. I think right now it's just frozen, so it's not doing much composting, but it will compost. And then I've been doing these beds using all sorts of organic matter right here so that I can plant some potatoes in one row, and I want to try sweet potatoes this year. I've never done it, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to be starting sweet potato slips next month. I've been watching a lot of tutorials, so we'll see how that goes. And then I'm going to add a few more of these smaller boxes, and I'm going to grow some herbs. I just don't want the herbs to spread because some of them can spread really easily. So I'll probably add another one right here, and over there. So we're really into tea and medicinal teas. So that was our goal with that. And then on this side of the fence, I have ever-bearing raspberries. Now these will bear raspberries all the way from July to sometimes October, November, depending on how cold it is. I cleaned out all the dead wood, but I never got to pruning these because they just produce kind of late and I didn't want to hurt them. So I will be finishing pruning these next month. But they did have a vine borer in them, so I did kind of come and cut all those out and burned them. And I missed one right here. You can see right here. Not a vine borer, they're raspberry borers. I'm not sure which kind, but they'll lay their eggs right there, and the eggs will eat the middle all the way down as far as it goes. And so I need to cut those off and burn those. And then we got blackberries right here, and I have huge blackberries. These are thornless blackberry bushes I got from a friend, and they are huge. Really, really good blackberries. But one of the problems I'm having is they're falling to the ground and then they get rotted once they fall there. So I'm going to add a cattle panel right here so we can keep them off the ground. And then I got, this is a smaller, younger apple tree, but I've really never learned how to prune the younger ones correctly. So after the pruning class, I'm going to have to do some big work with that one, and I'm going to have to get some limb spreaders and get those limbs to spread out a little bit more. This one's okay, but this one really needs some help. I need to really get those spread out. So, but that's the yard. That's my garden. I hope you enjoyed my garden tour. Subscribe to me and follow along with me and see how this journey goes. I hope to see you in the next video.